A relaxing dark fantasy horror story. The Secret of Boogeyman Inn, Part 3. A quick thank you to my Patreon members who make these stories possible. Join my Patreon to get early access and more. Link in the description. There's a door, room 1408's closet door, perhaps, that slowly and creakingly starts opening, and a pair of hairy, green, and clawed fingers sticks out of the closet door. Was the boogeyman from Frogren's horror story real? And what is actually hiding within the black and mysterious maw of room 1408? This is a Barrier Tale. All alone is how you feel right now, as the only person in your adventuring party that's currently awake. You lay there in the light brown bed of the boogeyman in the darkness and in the dim candlelight coming from room 1408's still lit black monster-shaped floor chandeliers. You lay completely frozen and staring at a particular spot right next to the oxblood colored floral wallpaper. You're staring at the wooden closet door belonging to room 1408. All the while, the all too familiar green, hairy, and clawed fingers slowly reach out of that very closet door. The amount of loneliness that currently envelops you is surely how little Timmy from Frogren's horror story must have felt while being home all alone in the middle of the night, while staring at his own closet door, dreading the moment if and when the boogeyman would show its hideous head. Something that looks like black smoke billows out of the closet door of room 1408 as the horrendous green-handed thing completely steps out of the closet. It slowly floats towards your bed and the bunk bed. That's strange. The green-handed thing's body is somehow completely obscured by this mysterious black smoke. One thing is visible, however, or a pair of things. Its green hands, which are reaching out towards the item between your light brown bed and the bunk bed. An item that leans against the oxblood colored wallpaper of room 1408. Gina's silver sword, Shiligido. A pair of glistening and orb-like purple eyes are suddenly visible within the black smoke. And for the split of a second, just before it disappears into the black smoke again, you catch the horrific sight of an anglerfish-like green jaw with yellow shark-like teeth sticking out in all directions. But the worst of it all comes the split second just after, as the green-handed thing has its gaze locked at the silver sword and its handles green emerald, red ruby, and blue sapphire. What you then see makes multiple chills run down your spine. You see the green-handed thing's horrendous and anglerfish-like lips twisted in a sinister smile. A smile that gets wider and wider the closer it gets to Gina's sword. "The boogeyman!" Frogren screams as he springs himself straight up to a sitting position back up at the upper half of the bunk bed. He's still dressed in his signature green and brown outfit, as well as his green and alpine-shaped glasses, despite previously laying under his white wool blanket. Frogrin's wool blanket looks like a white ghost as it sways and floats with Frogrin's swift movements. The green hands recoil back a bit and stiffens as the form of the purple eyes transition from 2 orbs to 2 thin lines, and the purple eyes glow within the black smoke dims slightly. Just a second after Frogrin's scream, Gina also springs up to a sitting position, but down in the lower half of the bunk bed. Her blonde hair sways with her body's movements like waves of the sea, and the bright yellow color of her hoodie shines a bit in the dim candlelight. Gina then takes a deep and panicked breath as if preparing for a scream, but it gets stuck in her throat and transitions into a strong and deep gasp instead. Gina abruptly lays down on her back again, pulling up her wool blanket over her nose. She completely freezes as she stares wide-eyed and shakingly at the black smoke that unravels those horrendous green hands. The hands equipped with those extremely familiar green, hairy, and clawed fingers. The split second after all of this happens, the shock of it all instinctively makes your arms sway away all around you, and this motion accidentally knocks over Gina's silver sword Shilijido, which was previously resting against the oxblood colored wall between your light brown bed and the bunk bed. You helplessly watch as the sword starts falling downwards towards the floor, its silver and its green, red and blue gemstones sparkling in the candlelight as it falls. But as the sword hits the blood-red carpet of room 1408, a burst of rainbow-colored energy radiates from its blade, which makes the green apparition with its black smoke back away a few steps. All the while, its green hands curdle back like a retreating snake, and in the same moment as the burst of rainbow-colored light manifests, shocked, Frogrin instinctively covers his eyes and falls backwards straight into his mattress and slams his head into the wall of the upper part of the bunk bed. He lets out a panicked yelp and grows quiet. The green-handed thing growls as thin and black tendrils of energy are shot out of one of the green-handed thing's hands and towards Gina's silver sword. These black tendrils hit the silver sword, and they fortunately bounce right off its blade without damaging it. But this, unfortunately, makes the black tendrils fly towards your light brown bed. Instead, the black tendrils hit the 2 bed legs that are faced towards Gina and Frogrin's bunk bed. The bed legs snap like a pair of thin twigs, and your light brown bed collapses to the side with a loud crack, and you fall helplessly down on the blood-red carpet with a painful thud right next to Gina's silver sword. Gina, with her wool blanket still tucked over her nose, meets your gaze with a wide gaze of worry and concern, but can't manage to move an inch. Tears start dripping from her face as she shakes horribly. A small part of the green-handed thing's black smoke lifts for a second, and you once again see those anglerfish-like lips and its yellow shark-like teeth. But this time, those lips are curved downwards annoyedly, and the green-handed thing's purple eyes glow brightly and sparks with anger, as those purple eyes are suddenly fixed with yours. The purple eyes turn from globes to thin lines as something sounding like a condescending scoff is heard from the black smoke. The purple eyes return to the globe form again and turn towards silver sword. The sword's green emerald, red ruby, and blue sapphire glistens You're laying there, right next to the silver sword, which makes the creature move towards you as well. The green-handed thing and its black smoke suddenly backs away a few steps, with one of its green hands fully open, just like the open mouth of a snake that backs away in preparation to strike its prey. This time, the green-handed thing moves quickly right towards you, and the last thing you see is that horrendous anglerfish-like smile. Everything that happens next happens in just the span of a couple of seconds. A white wool blanket flies in the air, and you feel a strong wind brush along your body. You see small, transparent drops of liquid flying by, glistening in the candlelight. You see an increasingly brighter radiance. Knelt protectively just in front of you, with a silver sword in hand, stands Gina, with her wet cheeks and glossy gaze, determinedly fixed with the purple eyes of the green-handed thing. Gina determinedly shouts, "Shilijido on!" And in the next second, the singular blade of the silver sword unfolds like a fan, turning into 7 different blades instead of one, each blade consisting of one of the 7 colors of the rainbow. The black smoke around the green-handed thing's anglerfish-like jaw disperses slightly, just enough to reveal its grotesque lips and its shark-like yellow teeth again. Its smile is gone and is instead curved downwards and twisted into a combination of surprise and shock. And the millisecond right after Gina shouts her phrase, as if someone had just hit the on switch on a grand theater's spotlight, the room is filled with a searingly bright rainbow light. A banshee-like scream, filled with anger and terror, is then heard. The green-handed thing quickly backs away, as if being struck by lightning. The searing rainbow light, coming from Shilijido and its 7 blades, makes the oxblood-colored wallpaper of room 1408 look almost orange. The green-handed thing covers its purple eyes with one of its green arms and shoots out a vortex of black and sparkling energy towards you and Gina. Gina quickly stands up right in front of you, dressed in her yellow hoodie and her baby blue jeans. She grabs hold of Shilijido with both of her hands instead of one, just like a baseball batter preparing to hit an incoming baseball. She braces herself and hits. Gina thankfully manages to hit the incoming vortex of darkness precisely before it hits the 2 of you, and the sparkling black vortex bounces back towards the green-handed thing and its black smoke. The green-handed thing hisses in anger and counterattacks the black vortex magic with the hand it isn't protecting its purple eyes with. Black smoke billows everywhere as the black and sparkling vortex magic swooshes by just above your heads. And instead of hitting you and Gina, the black magic hits the oxblood-colored floral wallpaper between your broken bed and the bunk bed. Crash! Wood splinters are thrown everywhere as wood dust covers the room, after which you see a gaping hole in the oxblood-colored wall. When Gina sees the gaping hole in the wall and realizes that the 2 of you are safe, she points Shilijido and its 7 blades towards the green-handed thing again, which makes the blade's rainbow light burn even brighter. The green-handed thing makes a deep growl as it now uses both of its green hands to cover its purple glowing eyes. This sudden hand movement makes the green-handed thing's black smoke disperse more than earlier. You don't manage to catch the sight of the whole creature, but you do manage to catch one thing that you haven't seen before along one of its arms. Something that looks like a purple robe. Behind the cover of its hands, you catch the green-handed thing's globe-like and glowing purple eyes. Their globe-like form quickly transitions into thin lines that bends upwards, looking directly into Gina's eyes, and then into yours, sparkling with hate. Its anglerfish-like green jaw clenches and cracks horribly as its yellow shark-like teeth almost break by the sheer pressure. The green-handed thing first gazes at the gaping hole in room 1408's oxblood-colored floral wallpaper and growls loudly, then gazes toward Chiliido's 7 blades and whines ruefully as its line-thin purple eyes are curved downwards. And as the rainbow light coming from Chiliido and its determined-looking paladin owner continues to searingly burn away at the creature, the purple glow of the green-handed thing's hateful eyes dim as the creature closes its eyes. And the green-handed thing's black smoke grows, covering the creature completely, and in the next moment, the green-handed thing and its black smoke is gone. Wide-eyed and with a tense back, as sweat drips along her forehead, Gina pants and wheezes as she gazes towards the spot where the green-handed thing once was. The rainbow light coming from Gina's 7-branched sword, Chiliido, slowly dims until only the candlelight from the black monster-shaped floor chandeliers of room 1408 acts as the room's only light source. And when the rainbow light is gone, the 7 blades, each blade consisting of one of the 7 colors of the rainbow, just like a geisha's fan, they fold together again with a swift whoosh, and Chiliido reverts back into its singular silver blade form again. I did it, Gina whispers to herself as her open lips slowly transition into an insightful and grateful smile. You're still laying on the floor after having been abruptly thrown out of your bed as Gina stands up straight right above you in her baby blue jeans and yellow hoodie. She bends her head and faces you to meet your gaze. I did it, Gina says in surprise as she gives you a wide smile and bends down to offer you her hand. Are you all right, my friend? Gina asks you warmly. As you now stand upright, right beside Gina, and between your now broken bed and the bunk bed, you hear a painful groan coming from the upper half of the bunk bed. You did what? Frogrin groans as he rubs his brown and ruffled hair at a particular spot on the back of his head. Yeah, that one's gonna leave a mark for sure, Frogrin says as he looks at his open palm. What did I miss? Frogrin then asks, puzzled as he faces you and Gina. I've never felt so scared in my whole life, Gina answers as she places one of her hands on the chest of her yellow hoodie, close to her heart. But I stood up to it. Stood up to what? Frogrin says, until his eyes grow wide between his green and ale pint-shaped glasses. His eyes dart from side to side until they rest at you and Gina again. You mean the boogeyman? Frogrin exclaims. You stood up to the boogeyman? Well, I don't really know if that green-handed thing actually was the boogeyman, Gina answers thoughtfully. But in a sense, I guess I did face my boogeyman. Gina looks to the side, down onto the floor, lost in thought for a moment. Yes, I did. Gina then confirms to herself, smiling proudly as she meets your gaze. Frogrin jumps down from the upper half of the bunk bed, right next to Gina. Down there, he gazes upwards towards Gina's tall, feminine form, her yellow hoodie and her long blonde hair. And as Frogrin meets Gina's lapis blue eyes, he says, See, you are brave! Frogrin exclaims proudly, with a wide grin, his white teeth glistening in the candlelight. Gina's cheeks grow a bit red as she looks to the side, a bit embarrassedly. I I guess I am, Gina answers, smiling giddily to herself, twirling one of the ends of her blonde hair with one of her fingers. Thank you so much for your support, Frogrin, Gina coos as she gets down on one of her knees and lovingly kisses Frogrin on his forehead. Frogrin's eyes grow wide in surprise as his cheeks turn a bit red too, or as red as a halfling's cheeks can turn at any rate. Don't mention it, Frogrin answers with a surprised but also very satisfied grin as he scratches one of his cheeks. And thank you, my friend, Gina says to you as she stands up straight again with her lapis blue eyes fixed with yours. Maybe you think you didn't do anything, or maybe you do, but regardless, Gina says, while dusting off some wood dust from her yellow hoodie and her baby blue jeans. The truth is, Gina continues, you're actually the one that moved Shilijido first, before I dared to do so, remember? And in that moment, you feel a familiar tingling behind your right ear. You see yourself swaying your arms around as the green-handed thing and its black smoke slowly closes in on you. And you see that it was this event that made Gina's silver sword Shilijido start falling down to the floor. That in itself may not be so impressive, but what you see next is impressive. You see that it was actually this very act, the sword falling and hitting the floor, that actually prepared the activation of Shilijido's protective rainbow light in the first place. That first burst of rainbow energy that unfortunately knocked Frogrin unconscious. Without that activation, Gina would not have been able to act quick enough to save your party from the green-handed thing. And as Gina sees by your facial expression that you are back in room 1408 again, Gina lights up like the sun on an autumn morning. You are the one who made it possible for me to save us. And with a wide smile, Gina lovingly opens up her arms, inviting you for a warm and friendly embrace. And here you decide whether you accept Gina's invitation and warmly return her embrace, or if you stand still and explain to her your very own personal reason for declining her offer. Whichever you choose, both you and Gina are left satisfied by the outcome. Guys, Frogrin suddenly interrupts. Yes, Frogrin? Gina answers curiously. Aren't we forgetting something? Frogrin replies as he points one of his pointing fingers towards something ahead, between your broken bed and the bunk bed, towards the oxblood-colored floral wallpaper. Ah, yes, Gina replies embarrassedly. The gaping hole in the wall. That one might be a bit difficult to explain to our gracious host, Blackthorn, Gina chuckles. And the broken bed. Let's hope this won't cost us too much gold, Gina finishes with awkwardly clenched teeth. The gaping black hole in the middle of room 1408's oxblood-colored floral wallpaper looks like the open maw of a hungry crocodile monster. After a moment of Gina gazing into this gaping black hole, one of Gina's eyebrows is raised. Wait a minute, Gina says as she slowly and cautiously moves towards the blackness of the gaping hole in the wall. And as Gina stands right in front of the mysterious hole, right in the middle of the wall of room 1408, you and Frogrin stand completely still, awaiting Gina's next reaction. Was the boogeyman from Frogrin's horror story real? And what is actually hiding within the black and mysterious maw of room 1408? Before I reveal that to you, Tailstriber, do you want early access to these YouTube stories? Until the 1st of January 2025, you get 50% off on the first month of your Patreon membership, which includes such early access and more. And if you end up feeling the membership is not for you, you can just cancel. No hard feelings. And you're always welcome back. Become a member by visiting patreon.com/Birger Tales or check out the link in the description or in the pinned comment below. I'm looking forward to welcoming you into the terrific Tales tribe on Patreon, the best place for potatoes. If you are viewing this at the end of 2024, then I'm currently on a vacation until the end of the year. So I wish you happy holidays and happy 2025 in advance, Tailstriber. And now let's finish this story. Is this? It can't be, Gina eventually utters, still standing in front of the gaping hole in the wall of room 1408. Can it be? What's with this suspense, Gina? Frogrin utters annoyedly and then looks up at you. You agree with me about this, don't ya? I mean, after all we've been through, I think we deserve some peace and quiet on this so-called vacation of ours for a change. Agreed? Frogrin grins at you. Friend, Frogrin, Gina replies, completely ignoring what Frogrin just uttered. Come over here, you two. As the three of you stand in front of the oxblood-colored floral wallpaper between the broken bed and the bunk bed, and as you stare into the wall's gaping black hole that looks just like the open maw of a hungry crocodile monster, Gina utters, I think we just found the secret of the Boogeyman Inn. To be continued. Click or tap the screen here to watch another dark fantasy story from Birger Tales. Check out free stories and get early access with the links in the description or the pinned comment below. And a special thank you to all of my Patreon members who made this story possible.